We have no audio. Doug, try that again.
Howdy.
Good morning, Chairman
How are
Elliott.
you? Mac. Howdy. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Yes.
Christmas.
Merry
Which
Christmas. and
Mike
Happy New
says
Year.
all- Pardon me?
Happy New Year.
You too. Brian, as you know, Mike Henry says Merry Christmas all year long.
Yes, he does. Hey, Doug, are you willing to just hop down to either my office or Stephanie's office? You've got no audio.
None. Mm-mm. We heard that.
If my phone falls over at any time, it's because I can't find my little stand for it, and I'm using a holiday popcorn tin to rest my phone on. So it may slip if someone tries to sneak out some popcorn. Wouldn't be me. Terry, I like your tree.
Thank you.
I just got your Merry Christmas text. I'm sorry I didn't respond. My phone had been in the shop. My good old flip phone.
Well,
They
we
fix-
can't lose your flip phone, Mac. I mean, that's pretty critical.
We're gonna shut those off the end of 22, I hear. So I don't know what I'm
Ugh.
gonna do.
Oh, my goodness.
I will be lost.
I am sure they will come out with some 2.0 version of it.
They have that now, but it's not really very good.
Uh,
I've tried it. It even allows you to convert to a retro keypad type thing, but yeah.
change is inevitable, but man, it's hard to accept sometimes.
I saw a T-shirt. Some old duffer was wearing it, and it said, "Change sucks."
I would echo that sentiment. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, yeah, I wonder where he got that.
All right, Doug, let's try your audio.
All right, I'm here at Stephanie's, so.
Do I
It's
need to call roll call before we start?
Okay, please.
Commissioner Yarborough,
Present.
Commissioner Hinkleman, Commissioner Scott,
Hello.
Commissioner Freeling.
Present.
Thank you. We have a majority. We will now come with Financial Director Doug James.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hopefully you can now hear me.
Yes.
What? No.
Yeah, that's what my wife says to me too, but that's beside the point. Okay, what I've got right now, what we wanted to deal with right now this morning was the end of year where we believe we're going to land. Obviously, we've got a couple days left and a lot of entries that need to occur and so forth. But what we were trying to update you on where we believe we're going to end or possibly end, and then address the year-end appropriation that normally is talked about, and resolution thereof. The document you see in front of you right now is my shot, so to speak, and I updated it as of yesterday for an estimate for the year ended 2021 for the general fund. At the present time, sources of funds are $59.4 million. I've got several different line items in there going down all the way down half the sheet of different accruals or different activities that will still occur in 2021. Some are estimates, some are fairly certain, but nevertheless, I'm attempting my best to calculate where I think we're going to land. Where I believe we will land for sources of funds for 2021 would be $62,352,637. The original budget was $62,567,000. So we are going to end up $215, almost $216,000, as best I can estimate it right now, under the original budget for sources of revenues. Within that, we did not pull in anything from the delinquent tax revolving fund. We originally budgeted $1.3 million. Also, MMRMA, we had a refund built in for MMRMA in the original budget, but we are not calling those funds either. So this is without about $2.6 million of funds that we had built into the original, or revenue that we had built into the original budget. I kind of threw over here to the right-hand side in a box the drivers of this estimate versus the budget. So you're going to see taxes are coming in about $1 million more than we budgeted. Personal property reimbursement was close to $500,000. A little bit of marijuana revenue sharing. Restitution, we built that in, which is the GASB 84 requirement now. The Register of Deeds fees have been running ahead. We've communicated that before. As best I can estimate right now, it's going to be just short of $1 million over, or just short of $1 million under what was originally budgeted. One more time, just short of $1 million over what we originally budgeted. Court fees are coming in short. We knew that. And we had pulled out the delinquent tax revolving money. We pulled out the MMRMA, and then all other items net are going to come in less than budgeted. So all told, as best I can figure right now, we're going to end up just short of the full year budgeted sources by about $215,000. Uses of funds. Uses of funds right now through the end of we've been yesterday morning, we had expenditures of $57,866,000. And then we've got other things that we're going to have to record as we go along through the closing process. One of those has to do with a payroll accrual for the unpaid days that remain in the year. We've estimated that. I've estimated the non-payroll expenditures at about 50% of encumbrances that exist today. And I've added those things in there. One thing I also added was the West Michigan guardianship appropriation that you folks approved in December. And with that, we come out quite a bit better than the original budgeted expenditures. So we have estimated here in this particular document, in this calculation, year-end appropriations of about $2,390,000. We talked earlier about health insurance appropriation going. Originally, that was coming from the delinquent tax revolving fund. We have sufficient money here, so we would pull those funds in from here. That fund will need some additional resources going forward. Capital projects, $850,000. Vehicle capital, $300,000. Those were originally coming from the delinquent tax revolving fund. And then year-end transfers for additional support of other funds as needed, about $240,000. All told, I'm coming down to, if we do those things, we're coming down to a full year uses of funds of 63,115,000. That is right on top of the original budget of 63,114,809 bucks. So where we are getting those year-end appropriation amounts of the 2,390,000, you can see in that key drivers. Part of it's coming out of personnel costs, part of it's coming out of non-personnel costs. Okay. And so with that, we estimate right now we will be about $762,000 decrease in fund balance for the year, where we had originally budgeted $546,000. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have questions, and it may be a whole nother subject or time, but there is a marijuana revenue sharing amount that comes to the county. Would you explain that? That's from each community that has dispensaries and grows and all that? Is this not the time to explain it?
Well, there are funds that do come for revenue sharing. That's that 140,000 that I have listed in that one box
Yes,
that has come in this year. I didn't spell marijuana right, but
there are a couple of ways they're spelling it now.
okay. So as I understand, and Brian probably could chime in and has more knowledge of this, but as I understand it, that has to be used for some type of remediation or some type of treatment purposes. They do say you can put it in your general fund, but you have to restrict it in some way. Is that what you understand, Brian?
Yeah, so this falls under, under the Marijuana Regulation Fund. It was created to disperse the dollars that are taxed on the purchase of marijuana. For this past year, for 2020, 31 million was collected and then dispersed to the local units of government, then the counties where those local units fall. So it's only communities that have opted into the sale, the processing, et cetera, of marijuana services. But then a portion is carved out to the local, carved out then also to the county. The county then has fairly broad use on how those dollars can be spent. But like Doug said, generally it should be tied back somehow to either enforcement of narcotics laws or some type of treatment services.
And I wonder, can libraries be in that? In things that they may need, or that's my heart. That's what I want to know. I saw something where the county was giving money for libraries. I felt like it was in schools, and our schools are not up to par with libraries.
I don't know.
me
It's a good question.
I'll chime in on that. I think it's a rather broad brushstroke under that statute. And, talking, and this isn't verbatim, but the inference is, if you read through it, that it's to enhance public health, public education, general, improve the general welfare of the population. I don't think it's specific to treatment of people who have a drug dependency problem, but that certainly would be includable. We could earmark some of it to the health department. We could tell local units, if they have a public health initiative, we'll do some matching in some form. There's a lot of different ways we can do it. Of course, they covet our money because we have a lot more than they do. And I think we've had a couple communities already, Niles and Buchanan cities, who've said, hey, give us your money because we got it for you. And my response when they called me was, you need to talk to the legislature because this is the way they wrote the law. And they thought that the county should get more than you get. So I imagine we'll be hearing more from them in the course of time as more communities come online and start generating money from their sales. But we have a fair amount of flexibility, as I recall. I haven't read it in months, but that's just my recollection.
Okay, okay, thank you.
So-
And that's something, you know, I hope we will look at deeper.
Based on that, if public education is something we could do, I think you could make the argument that you could contribute to a public, to a district library, with the understanding that they were going to buy some materials that related to drug education and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean,
I'm thinking more brick and mortar.
that might be tough.
Okay,
Yeah, that might be tough.
okay. Okay,
That's just, right. That's my understanding.
thank you.
Sure. Oh, and before I forget, Stephanie, is Stephanie taking minutes today?
Yes.
Could you just show me at present as ex officio? I'm not going to be voting on anything.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Thank you all for that side cat, whatever.
Okay, so if I can, moving back to what we were talking about originally, which was the year-end estimate and year-end appropriation. What you have also is a copy of a resolution. That is a department resolution. And it's asking for permission to transfer up to, as part of the year-end process, to transfer up to $2.6 million. Now, the estimate that I gave you a while ago was based upon 2,390,000. If we have any additional breakage, if in expenditures or something like that, we would like to be able to move more money than what were originally built into this estimate. Really, what I'm asking for is well, I guess between the estimate and this, about 150,000 for more additional capital projects. We were originally going to fund around $1 million, I believe, out of the delinquent tax revolving. I'd have to go look at that, but that would allow us to continue to shore that up. And then other fund balance transfers, I'm asking for 300,000, up to 300,000, which I think in the original estimate we had 240,000. I do not know what funds that would go to at this point. It just depends upon what we run across as we go through the close of the year. So
Madam Chair,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes,
you're okay, Doug. For clarification for me, so we are not calling on any of the delinquent tax revolving fund. And we're not calling on the MMRMA, and we are just a little bit off from what we had originally budgeted, even without calling those funds to be able to balance the budget, correct?
That would be correct.
Okay. And these are areas that you have highlighted in our budget process before, with regards to the healthcare insurance fund and the vehicle capital fund, when we've talked about budgeting, that you had some concerns of making certain that we had some of those things shored up.
That for sure, the healthcare insurance fund. We need to shore that up a little bit. The capital projects, we were originally figuring that it was going to come out of delinquent tax revolving fund. Well, the current year guidance said, okay, fine, you can pull something out of delinquent tax revolving fund, and it has to go into the general fund, and then from there you can do whatever. But then that, if we handle it in that manner, that will, I want to say, it will create a overage, so to speak, in the general fund, as far as what had originally been appropriated. So we don't want to be in a position where we trip, some things there.
Sure.
So I guess this is the spent some time trying to figure out how to make this all work appropriately and with a fair amount of reasonableness as far as what I think will happen. And this was a solution that I had the answer I had come up with and the resolution that I'm asking for today.
Okay. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Madam
Mhm.
Chair.
And may I ask Administrator Doucette and Director James, you all worked on this and I see I'm not good at years. So is this the first time or second time, Brian, you've worked on this end of the year? Second time. So
Yeah,
is it
so-
clear to both of you?
Yeah, you're just closing out the fiscal year to ensure that you've got a clean audit.
Okay. And I think it's marvelous. You say we're $217 short or over. I could put that in. You know, that's marvelous. That's
You'll have to add some zeros.
Yeah.
217,000.
Just make the check payable to County of Berrien.
And go to jail. That's monopoly. That's monopoly.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. Please tell us what you need us to do, Doug.
I think at this point, I think you need to vote in some way or affirm agreement with the year-end resolution. I will come back to you once we are a little further down the road and we've got closing entries in and so forth. It takes some time, so it's not going to happen within the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. Okay. Some of these things take time to develop and obtain information. So just bear with me. I will come back to you and report out to you where the funds were moved to, and we will go from there.
Okay.
So
Real good.
I need you folks to vote in some way.
I would like very much for it to be a roll call vote. This is major. So the resolution is number,
F2112391.
thank you. May I have a motion, please, to accept the resolution?
Madam Chair, I would make that motion that we accept this resolution and consider it for action.
Yes. May I have a support?
Yes.
You have changed your voice so many times today.
Hey, it's the end of the year. I'm winding down.
Do what you want. So it's been moved and properly supported. Any further discussion or questions or anything else you want to add, Doug?
No, I appreciate very much your consideration and taking the time today
Mhm.
to address this, and we will move forward from here.
Okay, and then this comes on the 6th to the full board?
No,
No,
it'll only be a
Wouldn't-
finance action item.
When we do this, this is it. It's
Yeah.
done.
yeah,
Thank you. Would you call the roll, please, Stephanie?
Commissioner Yarborough,
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkleman, Commissioner Scott,
yes.
Commissioner Freeling.
Yes,
Yes, motion carries. Thank you all. Now, what's next on the agenda?
Madam Chair,
Yes?
I have a question for Doug before Doug decides to leave and go and sharpen his pencils. You had mentioned about the payroll expenses and that on the expenditure side.
Yes.
Not right away, because you have the end of year stuff you have to do, but I would like to see where we came in at department wise within the county
Sure.
on overtime, and how much money that cost us extra over and above the budgets, like for the sheriff's department, for the health department, for whatever department. If you
Yeah.
could put something together for me, I don't know whether the other commissioners on finance would like that, but I'd like to kind of see. I know we're down 60 some people.
Correct.
But I think it would give us a telltale sign of where we're headed.
Okay, that would be fine. I know that within the jail, I know they're having to do some mandatory overtime, as I understand it. And we have factored that into what we've done here.
Right.
But I will get you something. I can get you something on that. Yes, sir.
Right. And the other reason I'm asking that is because if there's any more COVID funds that are going to be coming from the federal government for the health department, we could actually cite that overtime for use of COVID funds to, I think, to qualify for reimbursement. So I guess that was one of the other reasons. And then also the sheriff's department too, I'm sure COVID, but if you could, that's all. And it doesn't have to be right away, Doug. I just would like it.
Okay. Will
Thank
do.
you.
Yep.
I think, I'd like to say, I think that's a very good request, a very good question, because, you know, dollars were given for sheriff's departments or for, you know, certain, but everyone has worked over and under and up and down. And I hear in other committee or other cities where they're saying, what can we do to compensate, you know, the people that have worked over? And everyone has, or being locked in a building, you know, with a phone or computer. So it's something that we need to see about, I think broadly. That was a good question.
Mhm.
You all have any other comment or thought about? Okay.
Not on that particular item, but I do want to just thank Doug and his department for the work that they've done for this end of year to kind of help keep us where we need to be. So we have a clean audit. And I just want to thank you for your work on that, Doug.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you, Doug. Really, thank you. Madam Chair, my only thought was
Yes.
I requested that overtime thing. But I do think that if nothing else, it should go to all four of the commissioners on the finance committee. But I know I want it, whether you guys want it or not, I don't know, but I think we should give Doug instructions on who that goes to. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Administrator, do you have any thought about where it should go?
Brian had to leave. He had a 9:30 meeting.
Okay,
Put it in the chat box. I think that maybe at some point when Doug comes to talk to the finance committee, maybe that could be something he could highlight for us
okay,
in his
All right.
conversation.
Yeah.
that's good. All right.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
can you please, and Stephanie, can you reflect in your minutes for today that when Doug has time to get that information together, that it should also go to me and the chairs of admin and PHS, as well
Yeah.
as to all members of the finance committee.
committee on committee, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Get it?
Okay.
That would be good. And I just thank everyone for this year. And that, thank you. If you change your extension, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Things just disappear on my computer.
Oh,
And
no.
so all of you and the commissioners, we have worked well together, Doug. I just thank you. I thank you all for the information, and it seems like the openness, that's how I feel, like we know more than we used to know. And I thank you. I think you, Matt, chairman of the board, you have done some really wonderful things, some kind things, and saved us from falling in the whole things. And I thank you, because you say, this is the right one. So why are you doing this? You said it's the right thing to do, and I appreciate that. So I wish you all a happy new year, Merry Christmas, and I'm so happy to see a baby. So happy holidays to you all. And thank you, Stephanie. I don't see you, but are you still
I'm
there?
here.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you all. Happy holidays to you.
You
Yeah,
too.
Happy New
Oh,
Year.
look at baby. We gotta wave goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you later, alligator.
Cute.
Uh-huh.